bigger, better, and still playing all the hits. 102.5 KISS FM.
Hey folks, it's Bo Leo from KISS FM, and today I want to just kind of go over a few things related to the Lubbock police hunt for 27-year-old Thomas Ponce. Thomas Ponce is a Hispanic male who is currently wanted for multiple sexual assaults in the area. If you want to know more about him and what's going on with that, I'll put a link down below to our media partner, Everything Lubbock. They have a full report on this guy. If you know where he is, for the love of God, please call Lubbock Crime Line 741-1000. Of course, he is innocent until proven guilty, but he is considered a very dangerous individual. But what I want to talk to you about is, what do you do in these situations when you're out late at night, whether you're a male, a female, whether you think you can take care of yourself, whether you've got protection of whatever sorts, you can still become a victim very easily. A couple of things I want to throw out there. First of all, if you live in one of these gated communities or secured apartment complexes, first of all, there's no such thing as total security. If you live in a gated community, the gates aren't working, the access doors are not working, you need to report that to the management of your complex immediately, and don't just tell them. You need to put it in writing. That way you got a paper trail. Plus, realistically, in the event that something does happen and these problems have been reported but they weren't fixed, the complexes can be held responsible in some cases. Always keep an eye out. Be real vigilant. I don't care if it's in the middle of the day or the middle of the night. You know, if you're nervous and you think somebody's following you, you know, look around constantly. Don't be afraid to look over your shoulder and worried about whether or not people think you're weird because you're looking all over the place. You're doing this to protect yourself. If you think somebody is following you, grab your phone, call the police if you think that's necessary. Yell, scream, because one thing an attacker is not going to do, more than likely, is come and attack you. If you're screaming, if they think you're on the phone with the police, they're going to find another victim. We'd rather they never find another victim ever, but obviously if you have self-defense methods, whether it be physical, whether you have a concealed carry, open carry, mace, whatever you've got, you know, don't be afraid to use it if the situation warrants. Now, I'm not saying if somebody's following you, you know, pull out a gun and shoot them. No, don't do that. Don't do that unless your life is in danger. But if you have these methods available to you, don't be afraid to use them if your life depends on it. Now, once again, I'm not saying pull out your gun just because somebody's following you, but if you've got one and your life is in bona fide danger, don't be afraid to use these things. That's why we have the rights to carry these things and to do such. If you live in a home like I do, where I actually come in from a side garage that's behind my house, you know, I always keep an eye out because there's a lot of dark spots where somebody can be hiding, and I've actually caught people behind my garage before, and I have no problems running them off, but, you know, some of you may not want to do that. Once again, don't be afraid to sit there and scream, yell, grab your phone, call the police, flashlights, whatever you got to do to get attention, because that's the one thing that these types of suspects and attackers, they don't want attention. So if you throw a bunch of attention out there, they're going to disappear pretty quick in most cases. Of course, you know, keep an eye out for your friends, your family, your neighbors as well, because, you know, I've had that situation where I've had somebody lurking outside my neighbor's home before, and I know my neighbor not super well, but well enough to you know, get a hold of him and say, hey, look, there's somebody lurking outside your house. And, you know, sure enough, there was, and he took care of the situation very quickly, called police, and that was that. So just be careful out there and, you know, just stay vigilant. Keep a constant eye out. And if you know where Thomas Ponce is, please call Lubbock Crime Line at 741-1000. All information is kept anonymous, and you could be eligible for a reward. I believe right now the reward has been increased to $2,000, so that might be a little incentive. If you know where he is, you know, turn him in. But we'll have a link to the Everything Lubbock story below. I hope y'all have a great afternoon and a great weekend, and take care of yourselves and each other.
One station, all the hits, 102.5 KISS FM.